So to start the henna, let's just go into the Adobe Bridge, and I'll turn this down here. And Melanie created this little henna for this project. I called her up and I said, hey, can you draw me this little henna or tattoo type of design for this face? I faxed her my face, or I faxed her the photo that I was working with. And what she did is she got some trace paper. She put the trace paper over the face. She printed it out on a printer, and she started to draw this design. And then what she did is she scanned the pencil drawing that she created over the face, and she took it into Adobe Illustrator, and she used the pen tool, and she went around and she sent it back, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So yes, you can do the same thing. So there's a tip. Get a photo, print it out on the printer, whatever it is. It could be a portrait or whatever. Get some tracing paper, and you can get those at art stores. It's just like a see-through transparent paper, but you can draw on it and place that over the photo. Draw on it, scan it into Photoshop or Illustrator, and then grab the pen tool and make this path around like this. If you want to get really good using the pen tools in Photoshop or Illustrator, check out the vector art tutorial that's on this course, and Melanie will show you step by step on how to master that tool in creating different types of shapes and designs and all sorts of stuff. So check that out. But we're going to start off with this henna image here. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click on this and load it up into Photoshop. Okay, cool. So we have our henna, which is black, or our little tattoo art here. We have that over this white background. So we need to remove this white background. And an easy way to do that, we can just select the magic wand tool and click on the white background. So it looks like this, and it should select everything that's white. And then you just have to press the delete key on the keyboard to remove it. And I'll come over here to select and deselect, and that looks pretty good. It's actually nice and smooth around the edges. That looks pretty good. So I'll just go ahead and zoom out here. Now what we're going to have to do is adjust this henna to fit on her face a little bit better, because we can see that it is just a little bit larger than our photo. When the sketch was done on the printout, that was probably a lot smaller, and then so as soon as it got into Illustrator and now it's into Photoshop, it's a different size, but that's no big deal. What I want you to do is get all the pieces of this henna, all the separate elements here, on their own separate layers. So just select the lasso tool and draw around the different elements here, cut them, and paste them on their own separate layers. And now I can position these parts separately. I can actually make these smart objects if I want to. If you're using an earlier version of Photoshop, if you're using Photoshop CS or earlier, then you can go ahead and skip this part. But I'm going to come over here to Layer Smart Objects and convert these as smart objects. That way it'll make them non-destructible. This way, if I decide to resize the henna, I can do so without losing any quality. So I'll make smart objects out of all these separate pieces of the henna. There we go. And I'm just going to click on these and transform them and position them right where I want over the eyes. Okay, cool. All right, so let's merge all these henna layers together. So I'll select one, or link these layers together. If you're using Photoshop CS or earlier, you'll want to link these layers using the link well by clicking on one of the henna parts and then linking the other layers to it, and that'll allow you to link the layers together. In Photoshop CS2 and Photoshop CS3, what we can do is hold down the Control key or the Shift key and select more than one layer, like this. You see that? And then I can come up here to Layer and select Merge Layers. And so now we have it all on one layer. Look at that. Now we can make a duplicate of this, go over to Edit, Transform, and flip this horizontally and place it over on this side over here. I did this, but it's just too perfect. I like to have that gap there. Then I can select both layers, or you can link these two layers together and then move both of them at the same time until you get the center here lined up directly in the middle of her nose or directly between the eyes. So let's go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to take this henna and turn it into a metal face piece that looks just like this with a texture. So I'll be right back.